Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I was brought up here on the reserve. I was born in 1959, and I was brought up here until I moved away. First time I left the reserve, I was 14. And that was in the, when was it, in the 70s, something like that. But when I was small and when I lived here and stuff, there was a lot of trees here. There was hardly any roads or anything. There was only a few houses. And the people that were here were a lot of elders. And they lived in these old houses. And like my dad, for example, he wasn't originally from here. He was from Pictou. And at that time they were getting, I think it was, they call it centralization, where they were relocating the people that were living off the reserve. So they were promised, from what I gather anyways, from what my dad was telling me, he said that his father was promised a horse and a cow or some kind of farm animals and stuff like that, and a house and everything, and you know, so they made it sound real good. So they left Pictou and they came here, right, expecting all this. But when they got here, it was a totally different story. It was just like an old house. It wasn't insulated, and they had to use newspaper, you know, to plug up some of the holes in the house. And I think they give him, he had a workhorse. I kind of remember that. My grandfather had a workhorse, but I don't remember my grandfather at all, because he passed away in 1961, and he was 81 at that time. And I was born in 59, so my memory's not really that good. But I know some people that, you know, they can remember back to when they were like 2, you know. But yeah, to me it's like a dream. But but yeah, so throughout the years I lived here, and we all kind of visited each other, and nobody really locked their doors or anything, and you could trust each other, and everybody sort of helped one another, you know, like sort of like reciprocity. You know, they would help them, and then, you know, it would just be a normal thing for everybody around here. Yeah, it was really nice, and they had a lot of old ways, you know, like the way they lived, their religious beliefs and stuff like that. Like they sang in Micmac, and when someone passed away, they would put them on the table and wash them, and you know, get them ready for the burial and stuff. They didn't have funeral homes or anything like that. And my grandmother was telling me they used to wear these black armbands on their arm when someone passed away, and someone would go up to the church and they would ring the bell 7 times, and that means someone died, right? So everyone would, you know, get together and pray and sing and stuff like that. So it was really so different back then. You know, it was like, I don't know. Even the snow, I mean, like, because of climate change now, the weather's all kind of messed up. But back then, oh my God, the snow was so deep. It used to come up like right to our chests. And we have to dig our way through and stuff, and, you know, go to school. And the school was up here, Indian Day School. That was the old school that Buddy's burnt down in the 70s. I think they burnt it down, but that's where we used to go to school at. And so we used to have to walk to school and stuff, which wasn't too bad. I mean, it was only up the hill, but the hill wasn't like this. It was a bigger hill, and over the years they had to grade it down, you know, so that it is what it is today. But back then it was really steep. Yeah, because we used to, in the wintertime when it got real icy, we used to slide down it, coast down the hill. Yeah, so yeah, that was a lot of fun. But yeah, and we used to play back the woods and stuff like that, because we weren't allowed to like hang around the house when we were small. Like that was part of the protocol or part of the culture, right? And so once we got our chores done, like we had to like do the dishes and peel potatoes, mop floors, do all this stuff, right? And if you didn't do it, then you got hit, right? They slap you in the head or, you know, or something. But, you know, today it's abuse, but back then it was just a natural thing for them to, that's how they try to keep us in line, right? They would hit us. So once we did that, we had to go outside and, you know, so we were everywhere. So we used to go back to the woods and build camps and all that stuff. And yeah, we were all over the place. It was really a lot of fun. Yeah, you had to have a good imagination because the way it is now, everyone stays inside and they play video games and stuff like that. It was none of that. You weren't allowed to stay inside. If you did, then, you know, you're going to get smacked. But get outside first thing, right? But I didn't mind. No, we got to spend a lot of time outside and, you know, have lots of fun, right? Go coasting and all that stuff, and
Make
yeah,
memories.
yeah, it was really a lot of fun. Yeah. So once I turned 14, that's when I left. Like my dad brought us up because my mom left when I was 6. And she left him with 7 girls. Our second oldest sister passed away in infancy when she was a baby. So after Mom left, my dad, he raised us. So the girls were, you know, beginning to leave. You know, my older sisters, they're like, my oldest sister's about 10 years older than I am. So they would go to Maine and pick blueberries and stuff like that and, you know, travel around. So we were just, we were mostly brought up by the community. Like the women in the community would give us clothes and they would feed us and, you know, they would always ask, did you eat today? No, come on in, dust, you know. And then they would feed us and, you know, stuff like that. And I also, I started work when I was 7 and just going around sweeping floors and doing dishes and stuff. But it was 75 cents back then. It was a lot of money because, you know, you could buy all kinds of stuff. So yeah, so I always worked. But when I was 14, that's when I left and I moved to Truro. And from there I just kind of moved around until I got myself in hairdressing school when I was 16, and I got myself an apartment. Yeah, I was right and young. Wow. Yeah, oh my God. Even the landlord, right? He was like, I don't know, you look kind of young, you know. I said, yeah, but look, here, I got the money right here. I said, if you don't take it, somebody else will. Oh, all right, then just don't have no parties. I said, parties? I don't even know anybody. So I moved in my apartment and I got a hold of, I got in touch with the Indian Affairs and they helped me with a bed, table and chairs, stuff like that, even a dresser. Yeah, I had furniture and had my own place all set up, going to school with some of the older women from here. Yeah, they were in their 20s, you know, and I was pretty young. But yeah, so I got my independence that way. Yeah, and from there I started taking courses because I quit school when I was in grade 9. But back then they had like a manpower, they called it. It was like the unemployment, you know, the place where people help you find jobs and stuff today. Yeah, so they had all kinds of programs going on. They would pay us to go to school, and you know, so I was able to pay my rent and all that stuff. But yeah. So I learned how to be independent at a very early age, but I'm glad I did, because you know, like we pretty much had to take care of ourselves, right? You know, after Mom left, because Dad was working 3 jobs, plus he was taking courses at night. He would take carpentry, cooking, stuff like that, and then when he came home, he would teach us how to cook, how to bake, and all that stuff. So he was busy doing his thing, so we were just mostly going around being brought up by the neighborhood, you know. Yeah, so that wasn't too bad though. I didn't mind that too much, but yeah.
So when did you come back to the reserve?
Well, I was back and forth throughout the years, right? I would come back here and stay for a little bit, then I'd be gone again. And I used to live in, I lived in Truro, and I lived in Halifax, I lived in New Brunswick, and in Bee Cove. We call it Bee Cove Beach. Yeah. Yeah. So I used to live there, and I lived in Waterbury, Connecticut for a while and stuff like that. So I kind of moved around a bit. But now I just moved back here recently, about 3 weeks ago. So in a total, I was pretty much gone from here for about 31 years, 32, something like that, overall. But I learned a lot. I had to deal with a lot living off the reserve. You know, I deal with a lot of racism and stuff like that. And I put up with a lot. You know, I took a lot, but until I started speaking out and, you know, speaking up for myself. But it took me a while to do that because I was kind of like a shy person. You know, I wouldn't really speak up too much or anything like that. And even, I didn't even like saying my name in school, you know, because we had the nuns used to teach us, right? And they would say, "So what's your name?" And I'd be like, "Lauretta." "What? Greta?" "No." "Lorraine?" "No, Lauretta." You know? Like, oh, and I stand on my face all red and everybody's staring at me, right? Oh my God. Oh, I was so, I don't know, I was so shy. But as time went on, I kind of got out of my shyness and was able to, you know, like fit in and take all these different courses. And I did go to, during the years, I went to hairdressing school. I went to Teachers College in Truro. I took early childhood development. I worked in daycares here in Sipkne'katik, Truro, and Halifax. So I worked in daycares, and then I went to business college, and I worked as a secretary for a while, and then I went to university, St. Mary's and Dalhousie, and I got my degree in anthropology, and I majored in anthropology. I minored in sociology. So I was able to do interview people at the Friendship Center that were coming in and stuff like that. Did a lot of interviews for my papers and stuff. And I also, one of my things was I did teach them how to make baskets, because that's one of the things we learned when we were small, because they used to make axe handles and baskets and stuff like that, and pick mayflowers and stuff like that to sell to the people, right? So yeah, I did teach them, kind of show them how to make a basket, you know, like just the beginning of a basket stuff. Yeah, that was one of my things. But yeah, so I worked at St. Mary's and I worked at Dalhousie as a Native student advisor while I was going to school. So I worked there for like 8 years. I really liked that because, you know, I got to be the boss, right? Yeah. Which I always kind of like to be. It's not that, you know, well, I do. I kind of like bossing people around. No. But yeah, I like to have my own office, and you know, I had to be in charge of the office and stuff like that, right? So yeah, that was kind of cool. But yeah, so then I decided to move home once I got offered a house, and I said, well, I'm going to move back to my community, and now I'm looking for employment, and hopefully I'll work another however long I live. I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 more years. Hopefully 20, but God knows, right? You know, I mean, some people live to be in their 80s, some in their 90s, but a lot of people don't make it that far. So that's about it.
Is there anything you would like the youth to know about Mi'kmaq?
Well, I don't really know, because like I say, I spent a lot of time off the reserve, right? Working at jobs off the reserve, but I just find that staying in school is really important. You know, even trying to keep your grades up to a certain, you know what I mean? So that you can go to take different courses through NSCC, or, you know, eventually if you want to go to university, if that's your thing. You know, depending on what you want to be, you know, like I would really stress to the youth, take good care of yourself, your mental health, your physical health. and stay in school and educate yourself as much as you can, because that's very important, you know. And also, like, especially taking care of yourself, you know. Like, throughout the years, I didn't really smoke too much or anything like that, but even to this day, I like to swim, and after I leave here, I'm going to the gym, you know, and I've been going to the gym for a few years. I used to be in bodybuilding when I was younger. Yeah, when I was like 15, 16, I used to lift weights all the time, walk around all, you know. Until someone says, I don't know, Loretta, you're kind of starting to look like a man. I was like, what? Oh my God. So I stopped lifting weights. But yeah, so it's very, and I've been in counseling for a long time. Because, you know, like there were things that happened throughout the years when I was young, when I lived here. Like not very good things, right? So instead of, you know, like abusing myself and getting into drugs heavy and all that stuff, I went to counseling. I got help for myself. And sometimes, like there was one medical driver, he says, Loretta, why are you going to counseling for? Are you crazy? I said, yeah, you better watch out. No. So, you know, I always had a comeback, you know, for people being rude like that. But yeah, that really helped me to get counseling and to talk to people and not be afraid to open up to people, you know, and tell them what's going on with me and stuff. And yeah, that really helped a lot. But yeah, education is very, very important. Yeah.
Thank you, Lauretta.
You're welcome.